Nhân ngày kỷ niệm 3 năm thành lập, CSIE tự hào được chia sẻ 10 thành tựu nổi bật mà chúng tôi đã đạt được sau 3 năm đầu tiên hoạt động. Thứ nhất, tổ chức và đồng tổ chức được gần 30 hội thảo, sự kiện quốc tế để kết nối hệ sinh thái và nâng cao nhận thức về sáng tạo, khởi nghiệp xã hội. Thứ hai, xây dựng được một nền tảng bản đồ số doanh nghiệp tạo tác động xã hội tại Việt Nam, imapvietnam.org, với 600 doanh nghiệp xuất hiện trên bản đồ và 1.000 người dùng. Thứ ba, thực hiện 3 báo cáo nghiên cứu quốc gia về khu vực doanh nghiệp kinh doanh tạo tác động với hàng nghìn lượt download và tham khảo trên toàn cầu. Thứ tư, xây dựng được một đội ngũ tinh gọn, hiệu quả với mạng lưới hơn 20 cộng sự cam kết và cống hiến ở trong nước cũng như ngoài nước. Thứ năm, điều phối và tổ chức các khóa đào tạo cho 200 giảng viên các trường đại học, các cán bộ ươm tạo địa phương và tổ chức đào tạo lên đến 1.500 sinh viên và thanh niên trên toàn quốc về sáng tạo và khởi nghiệp xã hội. Thứ sáu, tổ chức và đồng tổ chức 6 cuộc thi khởi nghiệp có quy mô cấp quốc gia. Thứ bảy, ươm tạo được 50 sinh viên và cựu sinh viên của trường với tư cách là thực tập sinh, trở thành những hạt giống lan tỏa tinh thần sáng tạo xã hội, những người luôn coi CSIE là nhà. Thứ 8, ươm tạo và hỗ trợ khởi nghiệp thành công 3 doanh nghiệp khởi nghiệp. Thứ 9, có hơn 30 chương trình truyền hình nói về CSIE và hoạt động ươm tạo sáng tạo xã hội tại Việt Nam. Thứ 10, CSIE đã xây dựng được một website và 4 fanpage với 10.000 lượt theo dõi và được cập nhật thông tin thường xuyên. Như vậy, sau 3 năm chập chững khởi sự, nhờ sự ủng hộ của nhà trường, các đơn vị trong trường, sự tham gia nhiệt tình của các em sinh viên, thực tập viên, các giảng viên, nghiên cứu viên và đội ngũ cố vấn, chuyên gia, các đối tác, các nhà tài trợ, những người yêu quý CSIE mà chúng tôi có thể trở thành CSIE ngày hôm nay. Đội ngũ CSIE tiếp tục mong nhận được sự hợp tác của các cá nhân, các quý tổ chức trong năm hoạt động thứ 4 cũng như những năm hoạt động tiếp theo. Một lần nữa, xin chân thành cảm ơn những người bạn đã đồng hành cùng CSIE.
còn gọi là ATM gạo, là một sáng kiến rất độc đáo, vừa để hỗ trợ những người khó khăn nhưng cũng vừa đảm bảo hạn chế tiếp xúc trực tiếp giữa mọi người để phòng tránh dịch bệnh. Và gần đây, Trường Đại học Kinh tế Quốc dân Hà Nội còn có thêm một bước cải tiến quan trọng, đó là áp dụng công nghệ nhận diện khuôn mặt để đảm bảo công bằng cho việc phát gạo tự động.
Xin mời bác đọc tên và địa chỉ giúp cháu ạ.
Chỉ mất 5 đến 7 giây để bỏ khẩu trang, đọc tên và địa chỉ. Phần mềm nhận diện khuôn mặt sẽ tự động cập nhật ngày, giờ, người tham gia nhận gạo tại cây gạo của Trường Đại học Kinh tế Quốc dân Hà Nội.
Trong những cái lúc khó khăn như này thì thấy đoàn thể mà giúp đỡ chúng tôi như này là chúng tôi rất là hoan nghênh.
Cái việc làm của những người tài trợ này rất là nhân đạo. Chúng tôi là những người dân lao động tự do. Thế giờ không có việc làm mà không đi làm được, không kiếm được tiền thì rất là khó khăn.
Xếp hàng thứ tự đảm bảo giãn cách 2 mét, đeo khẩu trang đầy đủ và có hướng dẫn cụ thể để thuận tiện cho người dân. Trong 2 ngày đầu từ 16 tháng 4, Trường Đại học Kinh tế Quốc dân đã phát ra khoảng 10 tấn gạo cho người nghèo. Mỗi người sẽ nhận 3 kg một lần một tuần. Hàng trăm người dân nghèo đã nhận được gạo từ cây gạo này.
Trường Kinh tế Quốc dân trước hết là đã nghiên cứu cái kinh nghiệm của các cây gạo ATM khác, sau đó là kết hợp rất chặt chẽ với chính quyền địa phương và cuối cùng là sử dụng công nghệ thông tin trong cái việc phân phát gạo, đảm bảo đưa ra một cái hình thức phân phối, phân phát mà chỉ trong vòng độ khoảng từ 5 đến 7 giây đã phân phát được một người. Và tất cả mọi người khi nhận gạo cũng cảm thấy rất là ấm áp. Thì đấy là cái mục tiêu cuối cùng.
Cây gạo này dự kiến hoạt động đến ngày 30 tháng 4 với số lượng gạo phát ra khoảng 60 tấn.
Vâng, ai thiếu thì lấy, ai đã ổn thì xin nhường cho người khó khăn hơn. 3 kg gạo cho một người trong một lần nhận. Món quà tuy nhỏ nhưng tình người lại lớn. Cây gạo chính là một trong nhiều địa chỉ đang có những hoạt động cùng với cộng đồng chung tay để vượt qua đại dịch Covid.
Thank you. Welcome to the roundtable social enterprise and cross sectoral collaborations in COVID-19 organized by the National Economics University Center for Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship and the Vietnam National Startup Support Center under the Ministry of Science and Technology of Vietnam. So we are very, honored to have the guests, the friends coming from all over the world to join the talk that we organized in a very short time. We just planned about, like a week ago. So so I think we are very honored today. We have Professor Bùi Đức Thọ, the Vice Rector of the National Economics University. He's here with us, even he's very busy in terms of work schedule. So in order to start the talk that will be moderated by Dr. Nora Yang from Hong Kong Polytechnic University. So I would like to introduce Professor Thọ to have kind of opening speech. Yes, so please welcome Professor Thọ.
Good morning, good afternoon. I know that at this moment it is morning and afternoon somewhere in the world, and thank you very much for attending the e-meeting today. I'm very honored to be here attending an e-meeting with many of you and launch the online roundtable discussion today in the context of COVID-19 outbreak, which leads to social distancing in many countries. You can see my hair is long. I cannot have my hair cut due to social distancing. And through virtual technology, we are still able to connect to each other and be here with the mission of supporting social enterprises, helping this sector overcome the outbreak. As you know, COVID-19 outbreak has affected significantly the economy, especially social enterprise sector. In this context, social enterprises and social impact businesses who apply the business model to resolve social and environmental problems become more sensitive than ever. Our concern is that most of employees and direct beneficiaries in social enterprises belong to disadvantaged groups who belong extremely vulnerable in this moment. According to the survey conducted by our CSIE, the Center for Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship, National Economics University, in April 2020, on the impact of COVID-19 outbreak on social enterprise in Vietnam. It is initially estimated that COVID-19 has significantly reduced the social enterprise revenues by 66%, profit by 69%, and human resource by 32%. I believe the similar situation also happens in other developing countries, such as Philippines, Laos, South Africa, with representatives here. In this situation, social enterprises in Vietnam and other countries are putting a lot of efforts to combat with outbreak. At the same time, the government's supporting organizations and experts are having actions to help social enterprises to overcome the difficulties during the COVID-19 outbreak. National Economics University has conducted research to propose economic policies to deal with COVID-19 outbreak. We also implemented practical activities to support communities, such as reduce the tuition fee for students by 5%, provide scholarships up to 50% of the tuition fee for students having difficulties due to COVID-19. One of our university initiatives that has been appreciated by community is Rice ATM, which offer the free 3 kilogram price to the people in need. It applies the face recognition technology. 4 tons of rice is distributed every day in 15 days time, which expected will help about 20,000 people. We could have done this with support and donations from our alumni and the community. We plan to organize this activity in other remote and disadvantaged areas. And I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to donors for their support. Today, CSIE of National Economics University with DNXH, the National Startup Support Center under the Ministry of Science and Technology of Vietnam, co-host an online roundtable discussion on social enterprise and cross-sectional collaborations in COVID-19 to establish a platform for experts in developing countries and supporting organizations to discuss the effect of COVID-19 outbreak on social enterprises and experience to overcome the difficulties. Also, this online event hopes to contribute the voice to the government for proper and timely support to the sector and a positive supporting message to social enterprise sector to stay strong. I would like to send our sincere thanks to our speaker today, our international guest, Dr. Nora Wang from Hong Kong University of Polytechnic, Mr. Alfred Charubira from Cape Town University, South Africa, Mr. Tristan S. Global Lead of Social
I think there's a technical issues from Professor Thọ with the problem with connection, I guess. Okay, so
from Adventist Development and Relief Agencies, Laos. I also would like to thank our Vietnamese friends, Ms. Trần Hồng Gấm, Deputy of Education and Social Program, British Council, Vietnam, Ms. Nguyễn Như Quỳnh, Representative of UNDP Vietnam, Mr. Hoàng Tư Giang, an impactful economic journalist from Thuần Vietnam of Vietnamnet.vn. I also thank DNXH for co-hosting this event and Vietnam Startup TV for providing technical support in this online roundtable discussion. Last but not least, thank you for the social entrepreneurs, viewers who are joining this event, medias, and other press who are reporting our event today. I hope this roundtable discussion will provide useful information and recommendations for social enterprise sector in Vietnam, and we can share the best practices around the world so that we can overcome this outbreak and adapt to this new normal. Wish our roundtable a great success, with speakers and audience good health and peace to get through this outbreak. I hope this event, as this roundtable will be conducted more frequently to promote the development of social enterprises sector. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I think you can turn on the speaker so that we can exchange a little bit. Thank you a lot, Professor Thọ, for for the opening speech. We just have the Surats from Laos just joining us now. Okay, so Professor Thọ, he's a strong supporter to CSIE activities. He has been mentoring with CSIE since actually he advocates to he advocates to set up our center and going along with my center for over 3 years now. And thanks to his support that we can grow, develop that significantly during the last 3 years. And perhaps at the beginning you have seen the one of the TV programs. They talk about the ATM of Rise of our university. So actually it's a kind of initiative, multi stakeholders initiative between the universities, community, and the alumni, and to serve the people in needs. Okay, thank you, Professor Thọ. So now I think it's time. What I see is that we have lots of followers, and now on the viewing our roundtable, and it seems that we are having already questions coming in. So I would like actually as CSIE we are and NSC we are host of the event, but in order to make this event to be possible, it's Dr. Nora Wang from Hong Kong Polytechnic as an old friend and who have co-designed the program with me, and today she's the moderator of the discussions for the roundtable today. So please welcome Nora, and it's your turn to to facilitate the roundtable for the next I guess less than 2 hours. So we try to finish at 5 p.m. Thank you, Professor. Yeah, thank you, Nora.
Okay, so now let's dive into what concerns us most, right? So the unique pandemic, challenges that facing developing countries. And for the first panel, so we have 4 panelists from 4 countries. And so we have delegates from Vietnam, from the Philippines, from South Africa, and from the Laos. So I can't wait to hear your perspectives on each of your countries. So let's start with Professor Thắng. Would you like to share your views on the unique challenges that facing Vietnam?
Okay, yes. So as the first presenter, so it takes a bit time for me to. So I guess that I will share. Okay.
So while Professor Thắng is preparing, uploading the material, so Professor Thắng is the Director of Center for Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship from National Economics University. So, okay, great.
Okay, so thank you, Nora, for introducing me. This is a kind of brief report that CSIE have conducted just a week ago about the impact of COVID-19 on the social enterprise sector in Vietnam. We just make it, within 3 days, because on the 10th of April, the government issues a package of support to the people in need and the business, about $3 billion US. And then, with this news, we launched a survey on social enterprise to see, what are the negative impacts they have and what type of support they need. So after 2 days, we collected 38 responses from social enterprise in Vietnam. But for you, especially for the international guests, in Vietnam in 2014, we already have one article about defining social enterprise in the Vietnamese enterprise law. So, like we have a legal framework, somewhat of legal framework for social enterprise. So, according to the Vietnam enterprise law, an enterprise a social enterprise need to register as a company. So it must be a business, and they need to have a clear social or environmental objectives, and commit to reinvest at least 51% of the profits back to serve the social environmental mission. So social enterprise, in the legal definitions in Vietnam, must be a business. According to our 2018 and also this year country survey about social enterprise, so we have over 900, so nearly 1,000 social enterprise registered. So it's quite important after mostly 5 years of the law. And we also have about 20,000 social impact business, like the one that try to balance between making positive impact and making profit. So about 4% of business sectors are social impact business. And yeah, as what I said is that for 2 days we collected 38 responses, and the average size of a social enterprise is 28 employees in the samples, and 34% of them coming from disadvantaged groups like people with disabilities, ethnic minority pupils, and also like women, vulnerable women, and so disadvantaged groups. And each of the, on average, each of the social enterprise support over 500, beneficiaries. So based on this data, we can somewhat estimate the overall size of the impact of COVID-19 on the social enterprise sector. Just one slide about key findings of our survey. When we compare the surveys to the of social enterprise on and comparing with the commercial business sector, so actually it's not as negative and pessimistic as compared to the commercial sector. So 42% reducing in terms of revenue, but 8% of them making an increase in terms of revenue. So 32% of the social enterprise sectors have to make change or adjust business activities, especially they need to digitalize many of their activities like marketing or work from home for the business that can work from home, marketing, branding, and logistics. So all these kind of things they have to adjust. And which kind of social enterprise are most most heavily negatively impacted? So they are all the training centers. So all the schools, they are impacted because since the Lunar New Year, by the end of January now, all the schools are closed. So actually, as there's no students, so no revenue. And also tourism, because everything is closed. So sustainable tourism is impacted, and handicraft, because handicraft is not a kind of necessity goods for the people during the outbreak. So and all the exporting, like activities also are affected. But the sectors that recognize the growth in terms of revenue is about organic agriculture, organic food sectors. So because actually it's community and people, and the current situation raise the awareness about how we are changing the motherland. So people tend to be more conscious about eating good food. But also another source of revenue for social enterprise are delayed or cancelled or limited is about the grants and donations. Because most of the grant donations for social enterprise in Vietnam coming from international sources. So, everything needs to be restructured in terms of budget spending. So the grants is also delayed or cancelled. And 68% of the social enterprise sector still striving, to maintain the activity if the COVID can, last till June of the second quarter of the year. But if it's lasting till September, that means the third quarter of the year, 40% of them will be closed or go for bankrupt for sure. But what I see, what I see as a positive point is even they are struggling to survive, but 40% of them still try to remain of implementing and delivering their social mission. That means they still try to serve the beneficiaries that they used to serve. But if the outbreak lasts longer to the third semester of the year, 60% of the business and even all of them reported that they will stop their social mission, but focusing only on their commercial business model to survive. And the fourth observation is that we ask if you see COVID-19 is opportunity or not. So they, you see like 56% of them strongly agree that COVID-19 is also an opportunity for them to open, to innovate new product and services, to test the flexibility of the business and to test the business model which is not efficient. It was not efficient before. So it's a moment for them to restructure and rethink about what they have done. And the last findings that we found is that based on the data from the samples of the studies, we can estimate like by June, and actually currently now to June 2020, we have about 8,000 employees now from social enterprise, and like 170,000 employees from social impact business lose their jobs. So it's the data, but also based on the discussion with all the friends who are working who are social entrepreneurs. Most of them they had to close the temporary discontinue the contract with the employees and wait till when the outbreak is over. And also because of the company is somewhat stop the business, the employees lose their jobs, and also the direct beneficiaries from the social enterprise, they also lose the benefits that they get from these social enterprise. And I don't know if I'm talking about these two things or we wait till the end, but in the report we also proposed provide two key recommendations. The first one is to the government, everyone, it includes the social enterprise, social entrepreneurs and the employees and beneficiaries, are expecting the government react quick to spend the 2.7 billion US dollars on supporting the people in needs and business in needs as quickly as possible till they can still survive. They are still there to receive the support, and so the very detailed and simple guide procedures is needed, and we also find like at the moment the social enterprise sector need a lot of support from supporting organizations, civil society organization, and community in two things. The first one is about raise the voice so that the government can hear it, and the second one is like buy their products. So for social enterprise in Vietnam, it's really business. So what they need is the community buy their products. So actually, this is very brief overview about the research that we just conducted a week ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Town. Very good, sharing about the impact of COVID-19 on the SE sector in Vietnam, and also plus the opportunities that may face SE sector. Okay, so let's welcome the next speaker. And so the next speaker is from Mr. Gomer Padong from Philippines, and he represents the Institute of Social Entrepreneurship in Asia. So let's welcome Gomer.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon from my side of the world, and thank you so much to Professor To and also to Dr. Tang for organizing this very quickly. I was chatting with her, I think, a few days last week, and then we're now here in our first roundtable. So my sharing would be around perspectives of social enterprise initiatives and responses that the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia is doing. The Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia, or ISEA, as we are more familiar to the rest of the region, is a learning and action network, and we are currently based at the John Gokongwei School of Management at the Ateneo School at the Ateneo de Manila University. Similar to Professor To, I also didn't have my hair cut because of the lockdown. I'm currently on my 40th day of enhanced community quarantine, as how we say it here in the Philippines. And I would like to start my sharing with social enterprise responses to the COVID pandemic, encompassing a wide range of initiatives really. Many are doing their share in undertaking relief operations to stem hunger among stakeholders and partner communities, as exemplified not just by social enterprises in the Philippines, but I guess all over Asia. Beyond this, social enterprises and their partner resource institutions are also providing inspiration and hope, transforming threats into opportunities, introducing innovative measures and pathways towards building back better at various levels. Yeah. For example, Dompet Duafa in Indonesia, one of ISEA's members, established a network of social enterprise hospitals serving the poor with community-based primary healthcare program. They have been in the forefront of providing free access to COVID-19 pre-screening, rapid testing, and hospital care among the poor. This also meant that they built temporary care facilities to increase the capacity of hospitals and setting up hand wash stations in public places to support information and education campaigns preventing the spread of COVID-19. One of our members also in Thailand, the World Fair Trade Organization Asia, based in Chiang Mai, launched an urgent appeal for a fair trade response to the COVID-19 pandemic if you notice, fair trade organizations are focused mostly on crafts, yeah. But because of the COVID pandemic, they have transitioned. There are 10 countries where they operate are now producing protective personal equipments or PPEs, such as masks, primarily to meet local needs amidst shortages of imported PPEs. These were I mentioned exhibited in 10 countries in Asia. We also had news from our partners. For example, the Social Enterprise Development Partnerships, or SEDP in the Philippines, implemented a moratorium on loan collections and shifted their operations to social microfinance, transforming all loans as capital invested with their clients as business partners, in addition to developing proposals for responsive relief and recovery measures that government can implement in partnerships with microfinance institutions. Also in the Philippines, with the enhanced community quarantine, agriculture cooperatives and other social enterprises in various regions started to experiment and shift their trading and marketing practices to sustain serving their small producer members and partners, most of which are producing vegetables now, also facilitating door-to-door delivery of organic vegetables among households in the National Capital Region to sustain markets for their partner women farmers from a different food-producing region. Predicting negative impacts and drastic changes required by an emerging new normal, one of our members, the Roots Collective, an association of social entrepreneurs and local creatives in the Philippines, is gearing up for providing assistance in discerning new market trends and building the capability of livelihood program partners and grassroots enterprises who are used to physical markets to effectively engage in digital marketing and e-commerce. These examples of immediate and evolving responses to the COVID-19 pandemic indicate that the social enterprise sector has the potential to be a significant force in assisting the relief and recovery of poverty sectors who are hardest hit by the pandemic. They also indicate that social enterprises could make an important contribution in developing innovative pathways towards building back better, not just their own businesses, but also the communities that are suffering from the same pandemic. Yeah? If Dr. Tang and CSIE did the research for 3 days last week, we're also initiating a COVID-19 social enterprise action research in the Philippines. We just launched last week, and we're ending the collation of data actually on Monday, on the 27th. This is actually to look at not just the responses of social enterprises towards COVID-19 and their contributions, but also to look at relevant guidance to programming and policy advocacy efforts moving forward. We were seeing that with the output of the research, we're seeing that we can better inform the private sector and government agencies on how a responsive relief and recovery program for the sector and how social enterprises can be better supported so that we can contribute better in building back the communities where we operate. I guess I'll pause there, and then let's see how we can interact in the next few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Gomer. And Philippines definitely provides a very good example of how how resilient social enterprise sector is, and how social enterprise sector can rise to fill the gap of the lack of healthcare services in the community, in the remote villages. And so yeah, as you said, later we'll have more discussion among the panelists. So now let's welcome, let's welcome the program director of Adventist Development and Relief Agency from the Laos, and Mr. Shrestha. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Not a problem. Thank you for welcoming me in this panel. I do feel like I'm a little bit unfit to this whole social, enterprises, because I'm coming from more CSO perspective. So also we haven't had a really much connections with the social enterprises in Laos. And I know of some of them, but I don't know how exactly they are responding to COVID-19 and how active they are. And also, I guess, how it is working in Laos is obviously Ministry of Health take in charge of the response. And they have formed a task force. And in this task force, there is a 3 main key area. And one is obviously providing the health related service. And then another one would be with all the logistic. And then there is another component I can't remember at the moment, but there are 3 key areas they're working. And with ADRA, we are part of one task force that working with World Health Organization, also Center for Health Communications and Information in Laos. So our involvement is basically trying to support them with procuring PPE, a lot of PPE, and also coordinate that with that task force. So that has been our role in a central level. And in also ADRA, we are also working in our province and district. So the district also, province also have their own task force. And then we are also providing some direct support there through different funding mechanism. And we are basically providing a support for the gaps that they have been difficult to obtain from the centrally coordinated support. So even central has its own mechanism to provide a needed support. It's not reaching to the province and thus difficult to district. So we have a good relationship with province and district, so we can also get some requests through them, and we try to find where we can support that gap. So that's been our supporting mechanism and the partnership with different stakeholders that responding to COVID-19. And currently, I guess Laos has been lucky in a way, because we have only 19 cases. So 19 confirmed cases. So, there is a little bit of questions within that cases, but so far it's only reported 19, and then they are also treated centrally. So if the cases are found in province or district, they refer to the province, and province refer them to the central. So they are all being managed in a Vientiane central. So, and then also in last few days, we haven't seen any new cases. So, and then we had the lockdown was about to end in 20th of April. And now government extended that lockdown for until 3rd of May. So we are, obviously there is an impact, like a lot of small businesses have suffered. And then also a lot of luxurious product, and that's been also affected. Tourism is significantly affected all around the world. And then also we have a lot of group of people that relies on day-to-day they work today and they earn whatever. So that types of people obviously having a lot of struggle. And so currently we don't know or hear of any issues around town of, you know, homelessness or people looking for food. And a lot of people seems to return to their village, and somehow villages are probably more resilient than the urban city people because they're used to living subsistently, so they can manage living what they have. So in a way, I don't know the extent of the impact so far in the village level, but we do communicate with them, and there is some sort of uncertainties and also fear, because this is quite an unknown territory for a lot of village people. So that's the Lao, and yeah, so it's looking positive. So we may even have, we don't know what's government going to do, but if there will be no cases, we are hoping maybe they will start easing up on the lockdown, and then maybe they will take some staged approach. So it's something we have to wait and see. And obviously in terms of our CSO operation, it has affected us directly because our field operation has to be ceased because there is a potential of transmission, and we have come into all our work has been halted in the project. But having said that, we've also got other works that all the staff could currently work from home. So we are looking at, we have a work plan for each staff, and that work plan is reviewed, and they are reporting on their work plan weekly. We have a weekly meeting, and then we look like we may be able to work with our staff until the end of this month without affecting their work or pay. And then we will also continue to look at how we can secure their positions and not affect their livelihood. So that's where we are, and obviously that has impacted our operation. But then again, like, it also has generated some opportunity to really understand how work plan works. So the staff is understanding their own workload and, you know, what kind of outcome they have to generate, and they're learning how to plan. So it has provided different opportunity for our staff. So I think that's the bit of a wrap up in terms of our CSO perspective.
Okay, thank you, Sujai, and for the very good, you know, sharing on the impact of lockdown in Laos, you know, on people's life, and also the collaboration between the government and the civil society organizations, CSO, right? So indeed, you know, CSO plays a very important role in filling up the gaps in the, you know, public sector service, especially now. And also thank you for letting us know, you know, what kind of unique challenges that facing CSOs at this time of crisis. And yeah, so let's discuss more later. And so now, let's welcome. Now we're gonna leave ASEAN region, and we'll go to South Africa. Let's go to Africa, and so I would like to introduce our guest, Alfie Chirambira, and so. As you all know, like, South Africa now is the epicenter of COVID-19 in the whole Africa. So I'm sure, you know, Alfie will let us know what's going on in South Africa and how social enterprise sector is responding to COVID-19 there. Alfie, so you have all the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Nora. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, Alfie, could you please introduce yourself? I forgot to introduce you.
That's okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Can you hear me okay, Nora?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yes, so my name is Alford. I prefer to go with Alfie. I work with the University of Cape Town Graduate School of Business, the Social Entrepreneurs Incubation Hub. And I'm also an entrepreneur, social entrepreneur. So we have interest in distribution, which has become quite useful now during the lockdown in terms of trying to get products to some of the vulnerable communities. So that's that in terms of kind of my background. I have a massive interest in issues around equality and sort of diversity and inclusion and disaster resilience and management and so on. So yes, I'm going to chat a little bit about Africa and South Africa and how I see the situation. What I think are some of the issues at structural level, systematic level, and how I think that social entrepreneurs can come into play in terms of alleviating some of these challenges. So I'm going to try and share my screen for the guys that may not know where we are. Let's see how this will pan out. It's a little bit of a problem here with that, but I will try and share some of it with you. It's really just kind of 2 or 3 slides to kind of show you where we are. But as you would know, in Africa, we are about 1.2 billion people. We have some 195 million people in Nigeria. We have Ethiopia with 110 million people. We have Kenya with 51 million. And in South Africa, we are 58 million people. Now, with 1.2 billion people, we have 22,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus. And we have about 1,120 deaths since the outbreak of the pandemic. So this kind of makes me think about, do we really have low cases of coronavirus? Is it really 22,000 cases out of 1.2 billion people? And in South Africa, again, do we really have 3,000 cases out of 55 million people? Do we really have 54 deaths, out of 903 confirmed cases? And I think, a part of it could be, in South Africa, we have the hardest lockdowns, one of the hardest lockdowns in the world. So we only leave houses to go to the grocery store and the doctors. So perhaps that could explain what seems to be low levels of COVID-19. But I think that there are more issues. I think one is a testing level issue. So I think that we are not testing everyone that requires the test. I do not think that we are reaching every corner of the continent. I do not think that we're reaching every part of the country. I think that there are issues of coronavirus that are going undetected. And so I think what then that does is it brings another level of a problem, right? Because then if we're not reaching people, if we're not testing enough people, then how are we combating the spread of the virus in Africa and in South Africa? So I think there are challenges around combating the spread. Because first of all, we don't know who actually has the virus and who doesn't because of the testing issue I alluded to earlier. And so when it comes to combating the spread, I think we have massive homelessness. We have massive levels of inequality, poverty. People don't have savings. So by nature of the structure in the economy in Africa, people are forced to go out there and try and get some food and try and interact and try and do some manual jobs so they can earn what they can spend for the day. And then I think as well, you know, from what I've observed in the last couple of weeks, and we are on our third week of lockdown now, it's hard to enforce social distancing because we have, you know, slum settlements as well. We have people living in what we call shacks. So a family of 10 could live in 3 or 4 square meters. So how do you enforce social distancing in an environment like that? And I think this speaks to how our cities are designed. I think a lot of our cities in Africa are designed in such a way that we have massive concentration of vulnerable communities and the poor in one area, and then we have affluence and perhaps the good life in another. And so that's the difficulty, I think, that comes with trying to combat the spread of the virus. And then we have problems again at rehabilitation level, right? At treatment level. So of the few cases that we have identified, how do we treat them? How are we treating them? And what are the challenges with that? And one of the challenges we have again is resources, I think, in terms of, you know, masks and for the healthcare personnel, ventilators. I mean, Nora sent me an article this morning about you know, South Sudan, where we have 5 vice presidents in the country that has 4 ventilators. So we have more vice presidents in the country than we have ventilators, and it's a little bit ridiculous to think about. And so again, in South Africa, we have maybe 16 ventilators for a population of 55 million. So when we reach that peak, as we see perhaps happening in New York and Spain and Italy, if we get to that point, what does it mean for mortality rates because of the low levels of resources in terms of ventilators, and again the, you know, health professional to patient ratio that's quite high. We have resistance to I think the disease and the treatment. You know, you have some communities that are saying, hang on, you know, does this disease even exist? Because there's a lot of kind of a breakdown in communication between government and the NGO sector, and accessibility to some of those remote areas in Africa. I was reading in about the Democratic Republic of Congo over the weekend, where people are absolutely saying, you know, we've seen Ebola, we have seen you know, other forms of pandemics, and this doesn't compare to that. So they're not taking the disease very seriously. And so, you know, how do you then go in and say, hang on, we need to combat the spread and we need to treat you for COVID-19? So those are kind of some of the, I think, the dynamics and the realities on the ground in Africa, and particularly in South Africa as well. Now, when I think about social entrepreneurship and social enterprises and what they can do to assist with this, so first, I think I see opportunity in this. I think, you know, necessity is the mother of invention, as they say. And so we've seen a lot of social enterprises coming to fill the void left by some of the large corporations that cannot go into the communities. We've seen, you know, production of masks from some local entrepreneurs. We have seen, you know, social entrepreneurs being the conduit between government and corporates and the communities, because most of our social entrepreneurs live in the communities, live in the townships. So they've been kind of that conduit to enable access to the communities. They've played a massive role in terms of kind of being the distributing agents, if you wish, for some of the resources, and again, because of the way our cities are designed, some of the large corporates have never been into the townships, into the communities where people live, and so they don't have the structures to be able to provide food parcels, for example. And so social entrepreneurs have come to the fore and kind of try to fill that void. And I think the sentiment within the social entrepreneurship space in South Africa really is that I think we have accepted COVID-19 really as a force multiplier for inequalities. We think that the inequality has really come to the fore. But then again, we've also seen an opportunity in that. So there is a desire amongst social entrepreneurs to be part of the solution. I think again, we're thinking institutional, systematic, structural issues here, and I think that social enterprises have come to the fore in terms of that. And again, because companies are shut down, so we already are sitting at 25% unemployment in South Africa, for example. And so with companies being shut down, there's massive unemployment again. But social entrepreneurs have come in to fill that gap and say, okay, you know what? How do we then bring some of the people that are no longer employed to help with food distribution, to help with mask distribution, to help with testing, to help with establishing some of those community centers where people can come and collect food. So that's really in a nutshell the landscape and where I see social entrepreneurship playing an important role. And I think this is again similar to what Suraj was saying in terms of social entrepreneurs coming in to stepping up to the plate. And so I'm quite thrilled to share this with you, and I'm happy to again be part of this and listen to other guys as they also explain how things are happening in their countries. And I'm happy to again have some constructive debate around this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Alfred, and so which is very detailed introduction of what's going on, or sharing of what's going on in Africa and in different countries, and indeed, and then you mentioned several challenges. Especially what surprises me is like the local residents. They say they faced Ebola, they faced many different kinds of illnesses. So why take COVID-19 seriously? Indeed, these kind of stuff that we do have to fight against. So now let's have a panel discussion. And so now we have 4 panelists, and Alfred, Town, Sujai, and Gomer. So could you please unmute yourself first before you start talking? Gomer, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. So so of course, you actually during your sharing, you've already answered many of the questions that I would like to ask you guys. For example, the unique challenges and impact and opportunities. And so any questions that you would like, urgent questions on your mind that you would like to get off your chest amongst each other. Of course, I'm aware not everyone is from SC sector, because Sujai is from representing the civil society organization sector, right? So, but I guess here, when it comes to fighting against COVID-19, so it's a more like alliance between social entrepreneurs and, civil society actors, right? So, yeah, do you have any urgent questions that you would like to get off your chest? And also, I mean, if other guests who are watching the show, if you have urgent questions you would like to ask, please just ask. You can type your questions in the, because right now we're live streaming the event, right? So you can also just type your question while you watch. There's a write a comment section, and you can write your questions in that write a comment section, okay? And Gum, you can also, if you have questions, and Green, if you have questions, please feel free to ask.
Okay, so may I raise the questions to the friends? Just we think together. Is during the COVID-19, who was the most heavily affected by the outbreaks? The entrepreneurs, or the employees, or the beneficiaries? So what I discussed recently with some of the the network of the facilitators of social enterprise, my view is it seems the entrepreneurs are the most heavily affected, because they, like for the employees, I think perhaps, there's reductions of income and even the cut, a complete cut of income, but for entrepreneurs, many of them become a big debt owners during the moment. So yeah, I just raised the questions: is who is most heavily impacted? So just for our friends here. Yeah, please, Gomer.
I'll take the first stab on on the question. I guess everyone is affected practically at varying degrees, right? There's no one insulated around the effect of COVID-19. But in terms of how we look at societies and how social enterprises and how social enterprises interact with communities, I would believe that those most affected would be the communities where the poor, where these social enterprises operate actually, because for one, that's the reason for being. I mean, without assistance from social enterprises, the poor will become poorer. The poor will be devoid of opportunities, and so on and so forth. So that actually multiplies, and I guess I would like to say that I align myself with Suraj and with Alfie around poverty and inequality as the strongest what do you call these themes when we look at effects of COVID, and then the intersectionalities of such with social entrepreneurship, and then maybe putting it further with Nora's introduction of this segment. No, it's not just around social enterprises and I guess civil society coming together. Let's take it further. Maybe social enterprises with civil society, engaging business, the private sector, and engaging governments on how we can align together to define what really is needed by the most poor and the most vulnerable, so that services, social services, assistance, opportunities will continue to come to these poverty sectors. Yeah. So that's my first stab.
Alfie, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question to think about. The way I see it, and again, coming from a social entrepreneurship lens, and also kind of a community lens on the basis of the social impact consultancy we have. So I think that my feeling is the economy we can always fix, right? So no matter how much debt as social entrepreneurs we might end up in, our financial resources might be depleted, but that I feel like we can sort of fix at a later stage. I think issues around hunger and poverty and death, and sadly, I think they're affecting for the most part the vulnerable groups, the communities that do not have access to the resources that perhaps us in this core would ordinarily have and take for granted. So I think that my feeling is, this disease has affected just about everyone from top to bottom. But my gut feel somehow just goes with the communities as the most impacted, in the sense that as well, because social entrepreneurs were the vehicles for providing these resources, products and services to the communities. And now social entrepreneurs not being able to provide these products and services is again highly impacted the communities.
Yes, I do agree. I think Professor Tan's survey, right? And there was a figure mentioned about 163 million beneficiaries were affected because social enterprise could not continue their services, right? So that kind of correspond to what Alfie just mentioned, right? Yes. So Professor Tan, you had something to say just now. Okay.
So Suraj, it seems that Suraj.
Oh, sorry.
No, I think everybody's pretty much covered. For me, I think probably the most affected group would be the most vulnerable, and I think even in the vulnerable group, obviously, there's single women or widow that is sort of looking at how to look for a daily job, and they're relying on that daily income. I think that kind of groups of people are affected the most because they have no saving, they have no storage of food, so they really rely on what they earn today and then how they can feed their family and meet their needs. And I think that group of people, and usually they are concentrated in urban areas, so they've left from the village, come to the city, or they don't have anything in the village anymore, so they move to the cities. And I think that groups are very vulnerable for me. And obviously another directly affected people will be those family that has been suffering from the COVID, whether it's a loss of life or it's a health, and then just everything that comes with it. And then, of course, as everybody's saying, there's a level of effects to every area, whether it's a business or whether it's a government or whether it's all sector, really. Everyone has that felt the effect, but some probably are more vulnerable than others. So some are more resilient than others. And I think, that's.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Sura. I think a week ago, there were a lot of news about the migrant workers in India, right? So they had to leave the city and go back to their village where their homes no longer exist. And in the cities, they could not find any jobs because of the lockdown, and then there was no more food. So indeed, I think this kind of phenomenon, this kind of situation probably happened to a lot of indeed people in the developing countries, and I'm sure that happened in Africa as well. Where the development rely a lot on migrant workers, right? And because of the lockdown, and then what's gonna happen to these people, right? And indeed, and how can so then leads to my next question. So how can civil society organizations and social entrepreneurs, build a better collaborate in a way to respond to the specific challenges that facing developing countries, such as the slum, as Alfie mentioned, there are a lot of slum areas, such as in India, right? And migrant worker situation. So social enterprise sector definitely cannot act alone, right? So what do you guys think?
Probably, sorry, Alfie, go.
No, go ahead, right.
I guess it's very contextual, I think. And I think all of us that lives in a different part need to really able to look at what's happening in their context and looking at the opportunity to collaborate within the existing mechanism. And I think that's where the opportunity can be created. And I think if we can collaborate with existing mechanisms and authority, and then also be able to say, okay, this is what we can offer, I think that will also also help. Because sometimes if you go there and then you don't know how you're gonna help them, that also can be a bit of a problematic. So if you got some way that you can offer and then you be part of that bigger mechanism that have a coordination from the nationwide or province or district wide. And I think getting there, communicating with them, and then identifying if there is some gap is identified, and then if that gap is within the scope of your resource and capacity, then obviously then you can say, this is what we can do, and this is how we can help. And I think that's where the synergy is made. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. How about Elfie? Would you like to add on something? Oh,
okay. Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Nora. So I think that when we start looking at the COVID-19 problem and its effects as a systematic issue, then we start seeing a role for collaboration. We start seeing the importance of collaboration. So, for example, last week Friday, I was having a conversation with Vanessa. She heads South Africa Rugby kind of social impact initiatives, and one of the things, and this is a big organization, but the conversation was around, we don't have access to the communities, so we don't know where to drop off food parcels. We actually don't know what these communities need and how to get in there. Now we have social enterprises that at the moment do not have work or do not have the resources. So then if social enterprises can work with these large organizations and say, well, we know the lay of the land, so we know how to get in there, we know the communities, so let's come and work together and have an impact in the communities. And same with the NGOs as well, because the NGOs have the structures as well. They have the distribution networks because they've been working in these communities for a while as well. So I see an opportunity where the NGO sector, the social enterprise sector, government and large corporations can really galvanize these efforts and come together and say, how do we help the communities?
Yes, definitely. I think, Alfie, what you are saying is, come on, impact investors, come on, show up. It's time for you to make an impact, for real impact. Invest in NGOs or invest in social enterprise. Yes, I do agree. I mean, NGOs and social enterprises, they have very good community networks, right? So even if now social enterprise can pivot and then provide the certain kind of healthcare products and services with investment from impact investors, that would be great. So Gomer, I see that you wanted to share, so please go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to add my voice here. And concretely, what I would like to propose would be, number one, a learning and exchange platform of experiences, best practices among stakeholders. Something that we're doing now actually can spur into a more formal engagement in the future. Yeah, looking at social entrepreneurship and cross-sectoral collaboration. The second one is around developing and projecting collective impact. I think that's something that I would like to highlight, because individually, social enterprises are already doing good in their own contexts, right? In their own frameworks. But what if we'll bring together those social enterprises and together we build and develop a program where everybody is putting their stake and putting their 2 cents, and then and then projecting the collective impact that is generated from that. Another one is around the development and advocacy around government policies and programs. well, from the researches that we're currently doing, from the surveys that we're currently doing, what are the gaps and where does government resources need to come in, and then the fourth one is around attracting and generating commitments and support from private donors and financial institutions to really spur this up. So your comment, Nora, around impact investors coming in, not just governments, also intergovernmental organizations. I think those four concrete suggestions can be formulated into a better it can be more formulated better so that it becomes really a collaborative platform, a cross-sectoral platform that encompasses NGOs, social enterprises, governments, and the private sector. Yeah.
Very good suggestion. Very good suggestion about forming this collaborative platform, and in order to deliver collaborative impact. And thank you, Gomer. And now I see a lot of questions coming in online, and so we still have one very important presentation from Green of UNDP. So let's save these very interesting questions coming online after our last but not least presentation. Okay, and then we will open the floor, and then everybody can discuss. Okay, and so Green, so if you're ready, you can start.
Yeah, thank you. So let me share my screen for the presentation. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you. This is my. I'm so delighted to join the webinar today. Joining with you to sharing, our care and responding to support the entrepreneur, especially the social entrepreneur in all around the world. So I'm Quỳnh from UNDP Vietnam. So I'm in charge of the inclusive innovation and youth activity in the country office. And today I would like to share with you one survey that our Youth Collab program, a regional program in Asia Pacific, have already done on a young entrepreneur responding to the COVID-19. So first of all, I would like to sharing with you a quick information about the Youth Collab program. This is a program co-led by UNDP and the City Foundation, and the aim is to establish a common agenda for Asia Pacific country to support the young innovation and entrepreneurship. And so far, the Youth Collab had implemented in around 25 countries in the region, and have benefit over 5,000 young entrepreneurs, support around 600 startups to addressing the SDG challenge. When the COVID-19 come to us, the Youth Collab team would like to conduct a rapid survey in March 2020, and we have the response from 410 young entrepreneurs across the 18 countries in the Asia and the Pacific. And not surprised that we found out that 9 out of 10 young entrepreneurs in the region report that the COVID-19 had negative impact to their businesses. So I would like to share with you, just the very key finding on this report. You can see on the screen that 86% of young entrepreneurs report that they have a negative impact, and on the young entrepreneur who report in the negative impact, 34%, 21%, nearly 22% is completely stopped working, and major slowdown, and only 8% said that they don't have any impact at all. So the second question we asked the young entrepreneur, the social young entrepreneur, is which way the COVID-19 impacted your businesses, and also it's not surprised that 88% have experienced to reduce the customer demand, and 34% has experienced in supply chain disruption. And we have an example that one agri-tech startup in Bangladesh provide one example that because of the they close down and shut down all society, so they cannot come to the laboratory to doing the work, and that's the reason why all the work in the startup is completely shut down. The second question we asking for the young social entrepreneurs, what action that you have take respond to COVID-19? So it is sad to say, but then 35% of young entrepreneurs said that they have to lay off staff or reduce staff hours, and 25% have had to cancel the order from supplier, and 25% have the postponed investment. Is which is very sad information, sad news with the startup. With one example from the ecotourism enterprise, which is based in the Philippines, they said that they have to lay off most of their 20 staff because of all the packages have been canceled, and the future guests have requested the deposit refund. Look at the impact across different sectors. So we found out, there are some most negative impact. Enterprise was in some field like customer product, tourism, art, events, and hospitality sector. So in the other hand, the less negative impact is reported from the enterprise in technology, telecommunication, and education. And it's quite, it's quite sad, but true. Is 86% reported that they had the decrease in the financing turnover in the last month, and 43% have to, borrow and enrich into saving, and 30% have at least connect with the other entrepreneur to discuss about the strategy and how to survive in this coronavirus crisis. But look in the good side, we saw there are some innovations, initiative that the young entrepreneurs have initiated to combating the COVID-19. There are two examples I would like to quickly share with you. The first example is from the Philippines. It's one of the startup who is joined the Youth Collab in the Philippines, named AI for Golf. AI for Golf is now working with the national agency to develop a COVID-19 digital bot, the chatbot for medical professionals to trigger the scale and create the predictive modeling for the people who infected. And back to Vietnam, from our country, we have Vulcan Cosmetic, who is the winner of the Youth Collab Vietnam 2018. So at the moment, Vulcan Cosmetic is initiate the Cloud Maker platform, which will focus on connecting the hospital with the engineering community, who can design and can make protective and accessible equipment quickly to cope with the equipment shortage in the COVID-19 crisis. So basically, they connect with the doctor who are short of all the medical equipment, and the network with the people who have the 3D printing machine can help that quickly bring the equipment out and can help the hospital. So we also have, the question that, okay, so you have a lot of difficulties. So what measure do you think that can help you to survive in this crisis? So the young people have chosen several measures, and in the screen you can see that this is the most measure that have been chosen by the young people. So take a look at this. We have, not to surprise is tax launch, rent and utility relief. They would like to, to ask the government to support by provide the social protection, some incentive like using the service and product from the local community and small businesses, and they also thinking about the business transition. That set up a commercial platform where business can sell their product and services, support the small business to transition to the air commercial, etc. But then we also found out, it's also report that it's only 9.5% of the young social entrepreneur report that they can receive the tech break or the loan or the grant or other form of support to respond COVID-19 from the government. So we see that it somehow is a gap here. I mean, in also, if, for example, like in Vietnam, we have a lot of support from the government for the private sector, for the businesses, but then it's somehow it's like it's have a gap between all of the supportive and the receiver of as a young entrepreneur. So about is also the quick result on our survey. We still open our survey and looking for more respondents. So if you are the young social entrepreneur in the Asian Pacific, so please join us and raise your voice at the link I provide in the screen. And hopefully we will have the other round, and have more respondents and have more interesting information that I can share with you. So if you want to have more information related to the project, related to the survey, a lot of infographic and chart that I show in the presentation, so please visit us in Youth Collab website or follow us on the social media. So thank you for listening, and happy to receive any questions, and if anything needs to clarify, so please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Guing. Thank you. And very indeed, so you again, remind us, no matter, we were very excited in discussing what opportunities social enterprise may have, in fighting with the COVID-19 and what we can do. But indeed, we cannot neglect the kind of impact that the pandemic has on the social enterprise sector, because indeed the social enterprise sector not just have like healthcare related products. We have social enterprises active in education, sustainable tourism and other industries as well. So indeed, I will actually ask the panelists, all of you guys, what solutions could be there, to help social enterprises in other industries? Maybe those industries are not so healthcare related. Yeah, it's a difficult question, I know.
No, if I can jump in there. It's a difficult question, because I think that at least the way we're experiencing it here in South Africa and other parts of Africa, and it's really interesting to listen to Nguyen and see how the social entrepreneurs are experiencing this in that part of the world. Thank you very much. So I think I think of this pandemic kind of as a graph where, on one end we have the COVID cases, and then on the other we have kind of the time, right? And I think that what's happening here, at least in the South African context, is that people at the moment are very focused on how can we combat the spread, how can we reduce mortality. So there's this massive focus on that, such that there's very little thinking about, but what else can we do for social entrepreneurs that are not in healthcare or food production? So it's a very interesting way to look at it and say, hang on, there's also this side of of things that needs to be looked at, and I think not enough attention has been drawn to that. So I think well done for drawing attention to that. You know, in terms of what can be done, I think in our context anyway, we have quite a few business loans. We have quite a few relief efforts. Some of them you have mentioned, tax breaks, breaks on loan repayments. We have kind of a taxation element where small businesses pay into. It's called UIF. And so small businesses have been encouraged to apply into that. One of the things that kind of come to mind for me is maybe if large businesses can sort of keep paying their smaller suppliers, the smaller enterprises, and say, well, you know what, we know that you're not providing us with essential services, but we are happy to keep paying you so that you can keep paying your employees. We know that in 3 to 6 months, you might be supplying us with the same products you were supplying us or services before COVID-19. So how can we keep you in business? How can we keep supporting you? How can we keep giving you financial resources? Maybe that is one of the ways that potentially we could assist, or business and government could assist social entrepreneurs.
Yeah, thank you, Alfie. Yes, I think this is one of the strategies we definitely can look at. So Gum, you just raised your hand. Okay. So would you like to respond?
Yes. Hello everyone. This is Gum. I'm Gum from British Council in Vietnam. It's very nice to be the last people to stay in our panelists, because I'm very lucky to have a chance to hear all of your sharing, your finding. So it's I like your question, Nora. Even it's very difficult. It's no one can answer correctly, I guess. But I think I would like to share our approach, the British Council approach at the moment. Maybe it can have some help for the other organizations, particularly for the social enterprise, because we are also struggling with a lot of difficulty and challenges at the moment due to the COVID-19, and it's extremely difficult time. Even we have our global general director also mentioned about the we have no budgets, no budgets for implementing our planned activity in the next coming 6 months or even longer term. And we have a 3 approach that we at the moment we are applying. That's the firstly is that we need to prioritize our program, our activity, and also the second one is we need to protect ourselves and also protect all the stakeholders which we are working with. And the last one is innovate. That's how can we change the way we do, and how can we innovate the way of working without any budget, for example, at the moment. Maybe in the future, we don't know when the situation is back to the normal, or even never. But in that way, how can we change the way of working in order to make our business as good as it is? So for priorities, for prioritize, for example, we raise a lot of questions among ourselves. So I think it might be a good time for social enterprise to sit back a bit and also think about what is the priority during and post COVID-19 for them and for their beneficiary. And as our colleague just mentioned about maybe to make the business a bit lighter at the moment. So I think maybe if it is they prioritize, they could go for that. And also we may consider about what support is required to manage their business or their response to the to all the privatized things. And also for example for protect, we also have some questions to consider. For example, how can we use this time to protect your social enterprise, your organization, and what is the big question and challenges that our stakeholder will be grappling with, and how can we support them to recovery? That's our own question. And also for social enterprise, maybe they also put those a similar question to their beneficiary, and see how can they support for them, particularly for the vulnerable group of people. And also, I think it's time to do a kind of the market insight research and all things to improve the quality of the service or of the product of their organization, for example. So it's really good time to do it. And the final one is the innovate. For the innovate, and I see COVID-19 is maybe even when COVID-19 ends, another kind of virus or another kind of crisis is still coming in. So the world is changing. So that I think is a kind of the kick off of the new way of working, and we need to be more. We need to be more innovative in terms of the working, and also in terms of the doing business and other things as well. So to be more flexible, maybe cannot go forever with the traditional way, for example. So I think the social entrepreneur, they are very good in terms of the innovate thing to survive, and also to make them going forward. Yes, so that's a little bit sharing from our organization approach, but I see it might be relevant to the social enterprise sector as well.
Thank you. Yes, I totally agree with you about, you know, COVID-19 won't be the last crisis that we face, right? So it will be crisis after crisis. So as social entrepreneurs, you know, we have to learn to be more resilient and flexible, and learn from civil society organizations, just as Shurai was sharing, right? How your organization is coping with these current limitations on a work situation, and I, of course, you know, like Queen from UNDP, you also shared about their two social enterprises. They came up with two, you know, using technological solutions, you know, to came up with two apps, and then how are they, you know, how were they able to do it, right? So this is very good examples of how social entrepreneurs, they actually pivot and they actually innovate. Oh, Queen, yeah. So would you like to share a bit more?
Yes. This is just only two examples that I would like to raise in my presentation, because I have the limited time. But then you can see that, you know, with the industrial revolution 4.0, you know, it's put everyone to be online, to be, you know, that virtual of the product. And the people from all around the world can use your product. It's not only in the small market, like in the 10 years ago. But then, you know, there are a lot of reasons why the business, especially the social enterprise, I don't know why, somehow it's quite so behind in the AR 4.0. And I don't see that a lot of social enterprise have, you know, the strong communication online, or the website, or, you know, have those commercial strong enough. But because of a lot of reasons, because you have to take care for the existing customer, or, you know, because you are in the projects that everything have need to have you inside this, so you don't have time to build the online businesses or the commercial for your business. So this is a time. This is a time, you know, everything stopped. You cannot doing anything. Even you cannot go out in some country. So that's why, you know, there are something that we should do when we stay at home, and make your quarantine time more meaningful. You can at least, you know, start to do some website, online website, a lot of free, you know, platform for you to at least have the website, put your product in all those platform we can, you know, sell it all around the world, you know, Alibaba, eBay, Amazon, or the national platform. And also you can take this time, you know, to create a lot of storytelling video, for example. The thing that you have all in your mind, and you have all in a lot of training. For example, like chị Gum from British Council, and we also in UNDP, we have several training on air commercial, on communication, how to sell your product for the social enterprise. They yes, it's very good, and interesting solution, but then we don't have time. So this is a time for you to apply all the advice, from all the training. And also, at the moment, a lot of advisors, to be honest, have to stay at home. Normally the people, the advisor or popular person who travel a lot, and they don't have time to you. So this is a time, if you want to bother them with a lot of questions, you want to have the mentor, you want to have the business advisor, this is a time to bother them and ask them to have. And I mean, we all know that the COVID-19 affect us a lot. Even, individual to business, to the government, and everything is quite a lot of threat about this. For me, individually too. But then we should, at least doing something at this step. Otherwise, we just stay at home and don't have anything to do. It could be lose all of your positive energy, and is harmful to your business.
Yes. Okay. So the key takeaway message is time to bother our trainers, right? And then to turn the business, put the whole business online. Yeah. Thank you, Queen, for the additional suggestions. Very good. And Gomer, I would like to actually ask you one very one question that I'm interested in a lot, because from my research, I learned that in Philippines, the network, there are very strong networks amongst the social entrepreneurs. There are more than 20 social enterprise networks, right? So, I mean, at least it's based on my research. And so I would like to actually understand a little bit more, at this current crisis, moment of crisis, any kind of support or any kind of support that's being provided from those networks or coalitions or alliances?
Thank you for the question, Nora. I guess everyone, all coalitions, all networks are really grappling with a lot of things, right? The new normal of office work now is actually working from home. And there are a lot of issues around connectivity, most especially in a third world country. that's normal in the Philippines, and we're kind of adjusting to a lot of things now. So what I'm saying is that while there are a lot of networks and a lot of coalitions, broad as they may seem, we can see them doing a lot of work also on the ground, assisting their members, advising, practically advising their social enterprises around business continuity planning at the onset. And then currently we're trying to get everyone together to be in the same platform to actually roll out the survey that we're doing, and then influence government as a collective and not just one organization. But yes, those are some of the what you call. Those are some of the things that these networks are providing for their members or for their partners, and we would want to build on what they're actually doing right now, and to put that at a different level around advocacy and really bringing together all social enterprise players and actors. Yeah, that's it, Nora. Because again, even as there are a lot of coalitions and networks, the sector is still fragmented in a way, because of course there are social enterprises on the food, there are social enterprises on agriculture, there are social enterprises on the crafts business, and not everybody is actually in the same vein to come together yet. Yeah, maybe this is an opportunity.
I see. Thank you for the very valuable insights. Because from my research, I learned that in Philippines, you guys have very good ecosystem, you know, for social enterprise. And then now I learned that most of these social enterprise networks are actually organized more around industries. And then at this moment of crisis, and people are still trying to, you know, maybe there's opportunity for everybody come together and then see any way forward. Yeah, thank you for your insights. And okay, so Professor Tan, you have you want to respond?
Yes, sure. I'm so excited, you know, after listening to all the friends talking, you know, like you mentioning of, you know, using different views and mention of different things that is so interesting. So yeah, so actually in the research that we did with the social enterprise here, the most you know, important needs that from social enterprise now is to access to loans because they need cash flow. But the loans could come from, you know, like from the government or from the banks, and how to access, you know, to the stimulus package from the government, which is somewhat shared with the one from Youth Collab. But the key thing with social enterprise is that they're very small, and many of them, they don't have financial statements. They don't have financial reports, so that normally they don't meet the requirement from the banks to, you know, to make a debt. So I think, you know, for the urgent meeting requirements, crowdfunding from the community could be a source, because now I see there's a movement of philanthropy now in Vietnam. That means everyone wants to do, you know, donate money to support people in needs in terms of rice, in terms of basic community commodity goods. But I think, you know, part of that could go to social enterprise in terms of debt and loans, but not only like, you know, like donations. And yesterday, because, you know, at the National Economics University, we had an ATM rise and got a lot of donations, and from alumni networks, you know, like 50 tons, 100 tons of rice donated by our alumni. And we are thinking about, you know, what we do next. It seems the ATM rice is now just meeting the needs of the people who living, you know, in Hanoi area. And there's many others people in other areas who, you know, who need the support. So we're thinking about the next priorities could be like supporting the people with disabilities. And yesterday, I make a groups of discussions with the social entrepreneurs who employ people with disabilities. And I asked them, you know, what the needs, what your need is support, and how we can support them. And we find like there's two biggest needs. Is the first one is, you know, like they want the community to buy the products. That means some, you know, half of them, 50% of them, they say like, we don't need, you know, like commodity donation. We can feed ourselves, but we need you to buy the products because, you know, because we are business. So once you buy the products, that means we can continue to survive in terms of business, and we continue to employ the people with disabilities and serve the beneficiaries. And the second needs that they reported is that because some of the business, like they work like a hair salon with the deaf people, or some of massage with blind people, for example. So massage and spa with blind people, they say like all these businesses, they have to close down, you know, like temporary. So actually all the employees, they you know, they don't work. So mostly, you know, the income reduced importantly. So the second type of support is like we can support directly each of the employees of these social enterprise. So I just share with you the needs
the current needs, very urgent current needs from the social enterprise working with disabilities now. And I also very excited with two comments from our colleagues in Vietnam, like Gum. She said, like, even at British Council, it's time, and advice that she gives out to social enterprise is like, it's time to innovate and think about readjusting the business model. So actually, this is also part of our findings in the on the survey of social enterprise. Is social enterprise they see the COVID-19 as opportunity of innovate as well. And the comments from Quỳnh about the most of social enterprise is like they are not digitalized. They don't belong. It seems that there's disconnections of IT and AI, all these kind of digitalized technologies with the current social enterprise. And many of them, they say, okay, I don't know how to to sell and do marketing online. So actually, we are here. So universities in Vietnam, supporting organizations, especially universities, we are here. We have millions of students now. They are living. They are staying at home and online, and just come to us. Like our supporting organizations and universities. We are ready to have volunteers who are students and teachers who can be mentors and coach to the student team to support social enterprise to do all these kind of online things. Yes. So and for the building capacity also, yeah, I think it's really nice suggestions that we do not only wait till the COVID is over, but we can take the moment now to build the capacity, because as you see, like social entrepreneurs and social a lack of digital skills. So just back to the context of Vietnam is like since 2016 the government defined the 2016-2020 with the vision of 2025 as to develop Vietnam as a startup nation. So the government invests a lot in entrepreneurship and technology-based startup. So this is the reason why even in Vietnam, the social enterprise that we are using now, we somewhat switching more into the social impact business concept, or even impact startup, because the impact startup is the ones that in the priority list of the government, and it's also the we see as the directions for Vietnam, for social enterprise in Vietnam to go forward, because one of the comparative advantage of Vietnam is that like we have a young generations of young people who are really good in mathematics, as like in India or in many countries in Asia. So that means they are really good in doing IT work. So so just to share with our international friends, for the later part, it's about how social enterprise now in Vietnam, we are switching more to promoting impact startup, which is aligned well with the government priorities. Yes.
So thank you, Thắng, for your response, and which is very detailed about how government is pushing forward the social enterprise sector and the growth of social enterprise sector. And I just read from the comments of the on the Facebook that Javaid and Ismail from Pakistan, and he commented like in Pakistan, actually the state bank has just introduced scheme for avoid laying off with following features. So in a sense that if anybody, if any social entrepreneurs from Pakistan watching this live stream, So you can probably check out, what State Bank is offering. And thank you, Jabai, for your comment and information. And for some questions that we have already touched upon, for example, how we can use technology in this moment of crisis, and a hi from Neil Stott from Cambridge Center for Social Innovation, and then he commented, we are doing a fabulous session here, and thank you, Neil. And of course, a lot of questions have to do with, so what if the COVID-19 lasts until the end of the year, and how we can survive. So I hope, the responses from all the panelists, they cannot solve your problem, but, somehow to certain extent, they can give us some inspirations how we can, be resilient and pivot in the meantime. And so speaking of pivots, so there's a question about how about the social enterprises in Hong Kong? Yes, I mean, social enterprises in Hong Kong are very good at pivoting, like some of the social enterprise, they immediately switch into mass production, to produce masks, mass production social enterprise. And of course, the Hong Kong government also provides, but not specifically for social enterprise, just for small to medium enterprises that they can, they can get subsidy. So up to, if you employ 2 people, and then you can get up to 9,000 Hong Kong dollar, that equivalent of 900 euros, per month actually. So it's quite good in Hong Kong. And so of course, there are a lot of networks among social enterprises in Hong Kong as well. And there's also good relationship connection between the civil society sector and the social enterprise sector as well. So everybody is pretty connected online. So there are a lot of Facebook groups online that discussing how social enterprises can respond to the need, especially in terms of medical supplies in Hong Kong. And so indeed, of course, there's also impact on the social enterprise sector as well in Hong Kong, and which I don't want to go into details, since this session is more about, the challenges and impact and opportunities facing the social enterprise sector in the global south, right? And thank you very much. Thank you very much for your comment. And so let's see any other comments from live stream. Okay, so a lot of people like our live stream, which is good news. Yes. And okay, Tam, would you? Okay, one more question. One last question before we finish. Yes. So this question is asking, how about the cooperation between social enterprises and youth volunteering organizations to help the disabled? So that's a question from in Vietnam. So would you, anybody from Vietnam, would you, can you respond to that, to this question?
The question is,
how about the cooperation between social enterprises and youth volunteering organizations to help the disabled? So that's a question specifically for Vietnam.
So thanks for this question. I would like just want to answer this first, and hopefully after my response, chị Thắng and chị Gấm can add it to this. Recently during the COVID-19, the UNDP in Vietnam, we just released a quick survey and to ask the person with disability to respond and to let us know that what is the difficulties for them in the daily life, especially during the COVID-19. And the survey is still open, and with the great support from the youth volunteering group all over Vietnam, we are now, we hopefully we are connecting as much as we can the respondent, and after follow the result, the UNDP in Vietnam will collaborate with the government to provide the needed support for the person with disability. The other side of the question, I would like to link this in the 2019, UNDP and also collaborate with National Economic University and Ministry of Science and Technology. We have the competition named SDG Challenge. It's a competition and incubation, and the last year topic is to finding and incubate the product that have to increase the accessibility for person with disability. And our top 3 is 2 companies led by the person with disability. So during this crisis, we have close working with them, email, chit chat, and then we found out there are some specific difficulties of the social enterprise, especially the social enterprise led by the person with disability, and hopefully, we win. At the moment, we are connecting with some relevant organization. Hopefully, in a very short period, we can find some, quick adaptation solution for and give it to them. Yeah. Over to you, Chị Thắng.
Okay, thank you very much for your comment and response. So, Thao, would you like to? Oh, I see. Gum, would you? Would you like to respond?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the question. I just would like to share with the questioner, and also to share with you is that we are here to committed to work with the community, with the vulnerable group of people to support for the inclusive communities. So we want to we commit for the next 5 years that we are providing more opportunity for young people and also for the vulnerable group of people to support them with the all the need and sharing the expertise, sharing the knowledge between UK and Vietnam to help them to improve the condition in terms of the doing business or even for the daily life. I just want to share that we think now it's time it's time to investment. We call the investment time for future impact. And so I see that even for disabled people or for any community people, we will collaborate together and we listen to you with the full empathy to see what is the challenges, what is the difficulty that we can work together, and with the innovate thinking and innovate in terms of the working style, we will find out the solution. So just have the final comment for the question.
Okay, thank you, Gum. So we're at 6:02 now, and so thank you everybody for your participation and time. And Thao, would you, as the host of today's online forum, would you like to say a few words to wrap? I don't want to say to end it. I hope it's the beginning of our serious talks. So would you like to share some words?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nora. Actually, instead of like wrapping up, I would love to each of our speakers to give a kind of encouraging last message to social enterprise or social entrepreneurs, or any advice that you want, but very short one, so that we can conclude the round table with a positive climate. So I start first. As I said, I was surprised yesterday that social enterprise you said like you don't know how to sell the market online, so please come to us. At CSIE and universities network with British Council and Ministry of Education and Training, we have a large network of social enterprise and trainers of trainers in universities who are there
and we are ready to give the talents, you know, as a volunteers to support you to do all the kind of digitalized works for this difficult time and in the future as well.
Ms. Gomer, would you like to go next?
Yes, of course. What I would say to social entrepreneurs and social enterprises there would be to just keep going. I mean, COVID-19 is just one of the major blocks, but it's definitely not the end. So just keep going. We'll get there soon.
Thank you. Ms. Rai?
Well, I just wish, I guess it's a tough time, so you have to probably focus how you're going to sustain in this time. And then also take this opportunity to really innovate. The innovation's been really a discussion. And also try to, you know, think how you can pre-position yourself, looking at internally what resource you have, what capacity you have, and then also what opportunity might comes, because even though it's in a lockdown positions at the moment, there's going to be a lot of opportunity as things start settling. And maybe there is an opportunity for social entrepreneur to tap onto those new opportunity that's going to come. And then you're going to explore whether your enterprise at the moment is ready or not. And then maybe opportunity to pre-position yourself for this new opportunity. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Ms. Rai. And Alfred, would you like to say something?
Yes, I think very briefly that to social entrepreneurs and to us guys and our viewers, I would say there's a desire out there to be part of the solution to this. We are never alone. So as social entrepreneurs, be the glue that galvanizes those different pieces, let them come together, go out there and be the difference. It's tough times, but we will get through this together. And through conversations like this, through interactions like this, we will stay strong, we will become resourceful, we will innovate, and we will see the change that we want to see in the world.
Yes, yes, very good. Be the conduit, be the glue, right? And I like those words you choose. Okay, and Mr. Quinn? Oh, sorry, Miss Quinn. Sorry.
It's fine. I just have one sentence for all of the social entrepreneur, the entrepreneur, and all of us. So please stay home, stay safe, be healthy, and be innovative.
Yeah, thank you. And Ms. Kang?
Hi, yes, my sentence maybe I already mentioned already, but I want to repeat again that the investing time now for future impact. So be innovate to be achieve your impact in the future.
Thank you very much. And so we just have one more guest just join us, and Mr. Zhang, would you like?
Yes, so actually, this is a kind of, this is my staff.
Okay.
Yeah, the organizers, we want to make like group pictures.
Okay, okay, so.
And also the organizers behind. But for Vietnam, the social enterprise and the business impact startup in general, please remember, like, we have key players in this room today who are ready to support you. We have British Council in terms of capacity building, also connecting with the knowledge transfer and the supporting universities in Vietnam. We have UNDP who invest a lot in accelerating social innovation impact startup. CSIE already mentions, we are the research institute, and we have we have connections with universities, and we should not forget the NSC. A National Startup Support Center who co-host the event today. They are a kind of big brothers of supporting impact startup in general in Vietnam, in building ecosystem for startup in Vietnam. They are also joining our alliance of UNDP,
CSIE and you, and in promoting impact startup. So we are here. Actually, NSC also joining us in terms of location very soon. So we're making a huge, a real alliance in terms of network, but also in terms of physical location. So we will be a big marriage soon. Okay.
Okay,
so,
I have a few words to say as well.
Yes.
Okay, so my few words is because I'm very passionate about about forming alliance and networks in especially in a global south and in the development work. So I'm definitely in if you would like to have more talks like this, and to facilitate exchange across ASEAN region and also with Africa countries. And so I will be very interested in doing this again. And I would like to express my deep appreciation, for all the guests. And you guys just responded so quickly. We kind of, Tan and I, we were mentioning about, we came up with this idea on last Monday evening, and then Tuesday we already were reaching out to the guests, inviting them, and it was just crazy. So
Yeah.
thank you all, really.
Yes, thank you. So I think Vietnam Startup TV, we take a group pictures, but just to, I would like to say thanks to everyone, the speakers and the organizer from NSCs and the media. Actually behind that, we are going to be showcased on TVs and on press media, and also the team from Vietnam Startup TV who provide free technical support to us, and the team from NSC and also from CSIE here. So let's take a group pictures of us first, and then all the organizing teams will be online. Okay, I guess Ada, can you take pictures as well? I'm not sure that.
Are we taking pictures?
Okay. Yeah, we are taking it.
I don't know how.
Just a print screen. Just print screen. Yes. Okay. I guess that we are having it. So please, the organizing team, can you come online so that we know who are behind the scene? Okay.
They want to remain behind the scenes.
So can you just unmute yourself and be relaxed?
Are we still online? Maybe we should stop live streaming so we can.
No, it's okay. We will have everyone here. So just
Thanks
wait.
everyone. Nice talking to you.
Yeah.
Let's say very productive afternoon.
Yes.
Yes, it's very good sharing indeed. I really enjoy facilitating the discussion as well.
We don't, and I do hope that we can have the next platform discussion similar like that. We may set up a routine or something, or anyone can do. British Council would love to join with Skype conversation, and we like to see how can we work together during and post-COVID in order to support for the sector development.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for your.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Are we take?
Bye.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So we just doing like this. But we need someone.
Are we taking a picture?
No. But everything will be online, so we can take pictures, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thank you a lot.
Bye.
Bye.
Organizers still coming, but okay.
Congratulations, and Nora. You did a good job.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Elvis. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you everyone.
So we can leave the meeting now, right? I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.